This is a video for women who believe in God. So today we're going to go over eating biblically clean. So, something that the church often teaches is that with Noah's Ark, the animals were taken two by two, um, and it was all the same between clean and unclean. Whereas it's actually that, like, there were two pairs of unclean animals. So, like, male and female and two pairs of those of unclean. And then of clean animals, they went in by sevens. And so, um, with that being said, there was a distinguishment from the beginning between clean and unclean. So you know that Noah and his family were on the ark 40 days and 40 nights. And so, you know, they're going to have food. And then once they get off, those animals are going to have to procreate the earth. So, why do you think they had more clean animals than unclean? And then secondly, I want you to think about, when they did sacrifices to God, they never offered unclean animals. And then you'll see, I don't know where it's at, but you'll see that the evil spirits, the devils, the demons, whatever, they were cast into swine. And so you'll hear Noahic covenant, rainbow covenant, that type of thing. So, right here in Genesis 9, you can read about that because God established this covenant between Noah um, and his sons. And this is for us as well. So, this was from the very beginning. It's not just for a certain group of people. So, it says, God spake unto Noah and to his sons with him, saying, And I behold, I establish my covenant with you and with your seed after you. Okay. And with every living creature that is with you, of the fowl, of the cattle, and of every beast of the earth with you, from all that go out of the ark to every beast of the earth. And I will establish my covenant with you. Neither shall all flesh be cut off any more by the waters of a flood, neither shall there be any more flood to destroy the earth. Right? We know that God is not going to destroy the earth with a flood again. He promises. That's like the when you see a rainbow in the sky, that's part of this rainbow covenant because he promises to never flood the earth again. But he didn't promise not to destroy it with fire. And God said, This is the token of the covenant which I make between me and you and every living creature that is with you for perpetual generations. I set my bow in the cloud, the rainbow covenant, and it shall be for a token of a covenant between me and the earth. And it shall come to pass when I bring a cloud over the earth that the bow shall be seen in the cloud. And I will remember my covenant, which is between me and you and every living creature of all flesh, and the waters shall no more become a flood to destroy all flesh. And the bow shall be in the cloud, and I will look upon it, that I may remember the everlasting covenant between God and every living creature of all flesh that is upon the earth. And God said unto Noah, This is the token of the covenant which I have established between me and all the flesh that is upon the earth. Okay, but if you read Genesis 6 to 9, you'll kind of get the full picture. And then we hop over to Leviticus 11. We're not going to read all the way through it, but you see clean and unclean animals, right? And so you can read through this chapter and it'll give you guidelines for what's clean and what's unclean. I grew up eating unclean foods. I didn't know that pork was unclean. I didn't know that catfish was unclean or crab or any of that, but it actually all is. And a good way to like kind of think about it is things that clean up the scum of the earth, like crabs or live on the bottom of the ocean, bottom feeders, catfish aren't that clean. Pork, they can't, pigs, they can't even, they don't have sweat glands, and so they're full of parasites, full of toxins. So read through that, it's really important. Deuteronomy 14, again, clean and unclean. This is like your second witness to reading about clean and unclean foods. Pay attention to thou shalt not eat any abominable thing, right? All of these things are abominable. And then we're going to hop to Isaiah 65. So I am sought of them that asked not for me. I have found of them that sought me not. I said, behold me, unto a nation that was not called by my name. And I have spread my hands all the day unto a rebellious people which walketh in a way that was not good, after their own thoughts, a people that provoketh me to anger continually to my face, that sacrificeth in gardens, and burneth incense upon altars of brick. Anytime you see this burneth incense, that's typically referring to like prayers to lower G gods. So this is like idolatry, a wink at it. Which remain among the graves and lodge in the monuments, which eat swine's flesh and broth of abominable things in their vessels. Okay, so we just read the abominable things, or told you where to find it, back in Leviticus and Deuteronomy. But which say, stand by thyself, come not near to me, for I am holier than thou. These are a smoke in my nose and a fire that burneth all the day long. When you eat these abominable foods and fill your vessel with it, you are a smoke in God's nose. And like literally, when anyone tries to correct you, you have this holier than thou attitude. You're like, oh, that's not for me. We're in the new covenant, but you don't understand that if we're in the new covenant, that, everyone would be obeying the commandments and know what they are. And secondly, we still wouldn't be eating pork because God says it's an abomination. So do you want to continue to be an abomination to God? Do you want to continue filling your body with that? Isaiah 66:17. They that sanctify themselves and purify themselves in the gardens behind one tree in the midst, eating swine's flesh, and the abomination and the mouse shall be consumed together, saith Yehovah. You will be consumed. So when you hop up, LORD, that means Yehovah is going to come with fiery vengeance. The whirlwind, that's the 144K that's going to bring judgment with Yeshua. For by fire and his sword will Yehovah plead with all flesh, and the slain of Yehovah shall be many. So you are essentially condemning yourself and leading yourself to destruction by continuing to eat these unclean foods. And then part of the Noahic covenant too is not to like touch the blood right there. So the way that the heathen used to like slaughter their animals, they didn't properly. It was the way that they like let them bleed out, I guess you could say, when they would like cut their neck and things like that. You don't want to eat the blood. We know that there's life in the blood, that type of thing. So it's important not to do that. And then, a lot of people say, well, what about Acts 10? So Acts 10, Peter, first you have this weird verbiage, and then he explains it to you. So a lot of people think that the dream that he had was about food, when if you would just keep reading, it's actually about people. So the Gentiles in Ephesians 2 were told that they are without hope, they're without God, right? They are strangers from the commonwealth of Israel because they are not obeying the Holy Covenant and they're not eating clean. Those are the covenants of promise, right? And so you had Israel that was dispersed into the Gentiles. Why? They went after idolatry, the pagan worship, the heathen gods, that type of thing. And so they got spread to the four corners of the earth. And it was like prophesied their identity would be lost, that type of thing. And then the beast of the field, that's also like an idiom for the Gentiles. So Israel was like basically eaten up by the Gentiles. They were dispersed, but you can be grafted in, type of thing. And so God was telling Peter not to call any man common or unclean because they can now be grafted in to the commonwealth of Israel. Right? We're warned not to do the same thing that Israel did in the first place. In Romans 11, the natural branches to get cut off, because how much sooner will you be cut off? Again, nothing new under the sun. So if you want to be grafted in, repent from sin, 1 John 3:4. obey the commandments. Deuteronomy 5, Exodus 20, eat biblically clean. We just went over that. Read Leviticus 11, Deuteronomy 14. And then love your neighbor by not suffering sin upon them. Teach them to keep the commandments, to eat clean, and then to love their neighbor to do the same. It's very simple, honestly. But yeah, that's what you need to do to be grafted in. So you need to be eating clean. If you have any questions or anything, please reach out to me. Again, this is for Christian women, Catholic women. Just this is for women, it's not for men. Thank you and goodbye.